Sounds right.
Snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Sounds right.
And we're rolling. I'm here today with Bikram Sekhon, longtime friend of mine. He was actually, I think he was like our third guest on the podcast back when we did it out of the old bunker studio. But today is the official first one out of the studio, which is out of the bar. So right now I'm actually in a bar, but I'm in the podcast booth within the bar. For a little bit better imagery, I'll make a couple of videos and I'll put it up on our social media so you guys can kind of get a tour of the little setup we have here. But Bick, great to see you.
Great to see you, man. It's so cool. I'm so honored to be here for the first ever podcast out of the actual location.
That's right.
I'm super excited for you, man, for the team. Like, it's all coming together. I can kind of see it all getting constructed. I already took some secret videos, but I won't share those. I'll let you do justice.
do whatever you want, honestly.
But it's super cool, man. It's super freaking cool. Like, I'm really excited.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited too. And honestly, yeah, Bick, I also saved you for this one because your episode last time we were talking about mental health. Bick's background, he's a medical student right now at the University of Calgary. And last time we had a discussion about mental health, and Bick specifically did a road trip to bring awareness to that, essentially. And we had you touched some people's lives, man, off that podcast. A lot of people felt like they related to you. It was pretty interesting.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
sweet.
Yeah, and I was sitting there, they're like, hey, when's he coming back on? And I was like, yeah, soon, But then I kept thinking we'd be open fast, and then, but then just opening this bar, there's been a lot of hills to climb.
Yeah, man.
So yeah,
there's always unexpected things with this kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming together. Like,
yeah,
you should be proud of yourself, man. It's really cool.
Bick, I didn't come empty-handed. So we got some beers in the front there. That we just had our rep Braden from Fernie Brewery come down. So Braden, thanks for the hookup. And Bick, let's crush some of these here. I actually never tried any of them. So
I'm down to try this one.
I heard the What the Huck is super popular. Yeah, you love. Okay, perfect. Can I have that one then? Actually, I'll get in on this case. So you're drinking Straight Line White.
Straight Line White. It's
all right.
Smooth, spicy, and citrusy beer.
And I'm drinking the What the Huck. It's a huckleberry ale with a touch of berries from, again, Fernie Brewing. 5% alcohol.
Nice. It's a great. It's a wit beer. I love wit beer.
There we go. Camera's a little far, but there we go.
Cheers, Fernie. Thanks a lot. Whoa. Cheers, Shawn.
Cheers.
It's a good, good little after work treat.
Mm. Yeah, I like it. I like it already. Wow.
Oh, that's great. Really smooth.
Mm-hmm. So, Bick, right now, fill me in on you're moving, hey?
Yeah, man. So that's why I was hoping the bar might have actually caught up a little bit earlier. But I'm actually heading out of town as the bar is starting to open up. I'm moving down to Cardston, Alberta. So that's it's about 2 hours from downtown, the very south of Calgary, where my cousins are. Cranston, it's probably about an hour and a half because it's just Deerfoot south, straight the whole way.
So 2 hours out. All right. How many people are in Cardston?
I should know this, but I don't. It's not very much. It's a small town. So the reason I'm getting sent there is because of it being a rural placement. The type of school, the type of clerkship program that I'm taking in school, it's called a longitudinal clerkship program. So the U of C actually has this way of setting us up in one rural spot for an extended period of time. And what they know about this is that it's actually better for the students in terms of their learning to be able to follow a patient's story kind of through the whole hospital system. And when you're in a rural place, you're the doctor. So you're the family doctor, you're the ER doctor, you're it.
Did you get a choice of Cardston, or is that...
They actually, you can ask for specific sites. I actually wasn't very stringent that I need to go anywhere specific because my spouse is very supportive, and she can work.
Shout out Alicia.
Yeah, she can work remotely. So, she's able to kind of visit and kind of work from there. So it was left open based on my interests. And I was teamed up there because I have a background with mental health and addictions. Mm-hmm. So Cardston is actually right in the Kainai. And it's the last remaining like dry county in Alberta. So like when prohibition was happening, I'm talking about, okay?
Yeah.
They've stayed prohibited since then.
So there's no booze in Cardston at all?
There's no liquor stores. There's no selling of beer at the restaurants. So there's nowhere to purchase it within Cardston. However, that's what they mean by it's like a moist town, maybe not a dry town. There's still alcohol like flowing through there, right? And there's actually a lot of issues with alcohol and drugs around there. So I have an interest in that, and I have a background in that. And what I'm trying to seek is actually rural training so that I can be a very good general practitioner that can work in kind of rural and remote areas.
All right, sweet.
So that's how they team me up there.
Okay, man, it's gonna be so a year. You're out there for a year, you said, right?
Yeah, like 10 months. Yeah,
10 months. Okay. Honestly, man, you said it's 2 hours out, so it's a skip and a hop back to Calgary.
Yeah.
If I ever miss you too much, I'll be, hey man.
Well, more likely over summer, I'll be coming back here, and I'm gonna be checking up on you at the bar, man.
Well, I'll be checking up on you just to be like, hey man, like enough of this dry town stuff. Come back. Come back,
I think I'm actually hoping a lot of people do come down there because it's right near Waterton Lakes, and that's a gorgeous place. I think it's on par with Lake Louise. It's competitive with Banff, like in terms of how gorgeous it is, and it's not that far away. People don't visit it that much.
Okay. I was gonna say from there in Montana, how far is it?
Oh, it's like that's a hop skip.
That's a skip and hop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the state border is like probably a half hour, I think.
Okay. Sweet. All right. Well, where are you living then over there? What do they get? Like, how do they got you situated?
So they actually have accommodations for what they call visiting providers. So they have really nice condo units that are actually attached to like the health center. And I have a really, really nice unit that's like looking right over Main Street. It's on the top level. It's connected to this new health center that they're creating. So there's a full physio clinic with a full gym, and I'm hopefully allowed to get access to that. Sweet. So that's great. You're going to be near work. The family clinic is right there. The hospital's about a 5-minute walk. I got a really nice place, and I got access to facilities, and there's all sorts of nature. It's going to be over summertime. Like I said, near Waterton, and it's beautiful. Even the drive down there, man, I was just enraptured. It was really, really beautiful. It was a really nice day. Sunny, puffy clouds, but you could just see the mountains super clear and just fields of wheat and that kind of picturesque.
I'm just picturing it now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, this guy's really selling to me. Carson, maybe I should go. Wait a minute, I'm opening a bar.
Yeah. You got some work to do here. And you know what else I saw there was a lot of wind farms, and I learned from someone that Cardston is one of the towns that's trying to be net zero. It actually competes with another town in the States, I believe. There's a competition, and it's pretty interesting. It's interesting. The culture in all these rural places are really interesting. That's why I did the road trip. That's why I've been doing a lot of traveling as part of my training as well.
Do you think when they find out you're from Calgary and like all this, they're gonna be like, hey, that oil and gas town? Hey,
yeah. I don't know what they're gonna think, honestly, and I don't think they're gonna think much in anything negative. I think they're used to having visiting providers, and most rural spots actually are. I had gone up to Nunavut actually for a 2-week stint, so that was really interesting.
When did that happen?
That was in January, and it was in like the dead of winter, like it was cold. Really interesting experience, like minus 66 out there with wind chill. And yeah, we were staying in like an apartment that was also attached to the health center, but yeah, they were so warm. The community was really, really kind. That's part of the reason I'm drawn to kind of these rural sites is people are actually really, really kind, and they really take care of you. And it's great learning. Like you see everything out there, right?
I think next time I hear from you, you're gonna be like the mayor of Cardston.
I
don't know. You're just everywhere you go, and based on how long I've known you, it's like you just have this way with people. Next thing you know it, like everyone wants to hang out with you, and so I'm just I come back and it's like you're like the mayor of Cardston. I can picture it. Was it gonna? Yeah, Alicia. She's moving with you. Okay, so
she's staying in Calgary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She'll still be based out of Calgary in our condo, and then she's able to drive down there, and if she doesn't have to be in office, then she can potentially just do her work from home from there.
Yeah, honestly, 2 hours is really not bad.
It's
at all.
not.
Yeah.
It ends up being like an hour and a half, hour 45. You know how it is.
Oh, with your supercar.
Well, anybody who just drives at about 120 clicks, like it's 110 road, so most people do about 120, 125, and yeah.
But you literally have the Batmobile, basically. So,
this is true.
yeah, actually, well, I'm gonna put all big social media up there, but you should check out his car. It's literally like it's a Subaru, but it's like decked out. Like he literally has the bat symbol in the front.
Yeah, I got a bat logo on there.
Yeah. I don't know. When I first saw your car, I was like, "Holy fuck!" It's like a superhero. You know? Even the inside's all. I don't know. It's like a throwback to like a Fast and Furious car. Like it's fucking awesome, man. I'm sitting there like shit. You know, like I'm like this is the coolest doctor ever. You know? Not yet. Okay, but will be. Okay, yeah, Bic. Like, I want to touch base on. So last time we spoke, like, how is everything with the mental health world and your world with mental health right now? Like,
it's been pretty good. I had a bit of a kind of a downer setback maybe about a month ago. Not sure what was going on, but things are fine.
Like with you, like health.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what I have. It's this thing called persistent depressive disorder. So it used to be called dysthymia, and it's cyclical in its nature. So you can kind of figure out the pattern when you're going to get low, and I was able to kind of catch it a bit, and yeah, I'm back to good, and I actually feel really great. The thing that's really been impactful is that school, I was able to finally move on to the next step. I finally started clerkship, and that's where I thrive. You're working with people. It's on the job learning. Practical learning, right? And that's really, really helped my mood, not to just be studying at home,
dude,
writing exams.
I wanted to ask you, like, because I've known you for like forever, you know. I just like what. Okay, how do I ask this? I'm just gonna ask it bluntly. It's just like what, like why do you feel down, man? Like you have you have an awesome life, and like people love you. So like, why do you still feel down from time to time? Because like.
You know what? That's what it is to have chemical depression. It's like there's just neurotransmitters that are kind of wonky, and it's all multifaceted. So there's nothing that was really happening in life. That's all it is.
Okay, so it's almost like, would you say you have to use your mind, like almost exercises to take yourself out of like thinking per se? Is that really kind of like what's causing it?
Sort of. I'm not ruminating about anything. The thing is, I'm not actually feeling down like, oh, this is, life sucks. It's not that.
Yeah. You're saying a chemical.
So it's like just hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to make it to the shift. It's hard to be energetic during the shift, which actually clouds your brain in terms of being able to absorb information and learn, right? So it's things like that. And you just kind of get on with it, man. Actually, the best strategy is just to forgive yourself. So I realized that during that time, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to make it to the gym as much. Just get through med school. Like, just make it to your shift, and that's a victory. So you stop being like so hard on yourself, I guess, and just know that this is just a little phase and you're going to be out of it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't, like, the way I know you, and what I'm trying to get at here is just that, like, you've always been very on the go. Like, you have so many things happening, and I just remember, like, just forever, like, I've known you forever. Like you're also a very like competitive guy in a good way. Like, I'm saying, it's like you're competitive as in I don't know, you just want to bring out the best in yourself. So like, so would you say a lot? Because like to us, it seems almost like to your friends, it's just like, dude, like, you're good. you know. So it's more like you're just battling yourself. Like and then, but you just like right now you basically said there's a chemical issue, but. Let me ask you when you think, say like Tinkerbell style from Peter Pan, say you're like thinking happy thoughts, right? Does your physiology get happier, or this issue that you had momentarily, not momentarily, that you had a little bit of, or was it even then you still felt like chemically off or whatever?
I still felt chemically off, and the thing is, you're actually hitting on what we call the CBT triangle. It's like the bread and butter of a lot of therapy that we do in mental health.
Educate me.
So the cognitive behavioral therapy triangle. Okay. And it's basically a triangle, and then you have thoughts, you have feelings, and you have behaviors. And it's just explaining how they're all interconnected, right?
Okay.
The thing is, when we ask people, and let me ask you actually, this is a good question.
Mm.
If I'm feeling down and I'm thinking negative thoughts, and so then I'm also just, not moving, just being kind
Can
of
we get
lethargic.
more specific? Like, give me an example of a negative thought. Like, and then I'm just because
Like
I'm not perfect. I felt down for it too.
Sure,
like,
you're worthless. You haven't accomplished enough.
not
whatever.
feeling good enough. Feeling.
Yeah, or feeling guilty that you didn't do something in the past, or whatever it is, right? And then you're feeling down, and then you're also not behaving in a way that's uppy or peppy or whatever.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you, out of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, which is the easiest to change?
Okay, hold on. That's a good one. Let me think about this. Thoughts, behaviors. Wait, what were they? Thought and behavior. Which one's easier?
Feelings.
To change?
Thoughts, behaviors, or feelings. Which is easier for you to change?
Okay, this might be a long-winded explanation, but okay, maybe it's not. Have you heard of Jocko Willink, by the way?
No.
Okay, he's a Navy SEAL who retired. This guy is he's an animal. Like just one of my heroes. Actually, when we get off air here, I want to show you some of his stuff. He has this one thing he calls. There's a short YouTube video on it. I think I might even attach the link. He calls it mind control, right? Because he explained the short version is when people think of mind control, they think of you're controlling someone else's mind, but what he's referring to is controlling your own mind. Yeah. And I heard that speech almost 7 years ago, and I started to really implement it. And I noticed when I correct my thought, my conscious thought, my feeling, for me anyway, is instantly connected to that. So if I'm thinking happy, right, I actually start to feel happy. Yeah. Like so my problem in the past was that I always let my thoughts get away from me. Yeah. That's the problem. And but learning to catch it and then start to control what you want to think about, that takes a lot of practice. Because I noticed you might get the hang of it for an hour, then I don't know, someone makes fun of my legs for skipping so many leg days or something, and then and then I'd be like, oh, and then my thoughts would be then if I don't catch the thought, right, but that's something I guess I don't struggle with anymore because I learned this thing that Jocko calls mind control, and he didn't invent it. He just kind of made it very simple instructions for dummies, kind of, right, for fucking meathead guys.
That is CBT in its essence. So that's what you're right. Yeah. Thoughts are easier to change than feelings. Yeah. If you change the thought, then it will result
for me
in better feelings. But for most people, there's
a
science behind this. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So there's a lot also with, Angela Duckworth. She wrote about grit. There's the Atomic Habits. That's another one. All this is based on this kind of stuff, CBT, and it's behavioral change, right? Which I think relates a lot. And to what you said, it takes work. So when we're talking with people who are getting mental health counseling, sometimes it's just things aren't changing because you're not doing the homework, right? It's you have to do the work. Yeah. But I'm going to blow your mind, okay? When you get to a certain level of, depression or anxiety, which is chemical, those thoughts are also not changeable sometimes. They just keep rampantly attacking.
Is that trauma then you're referring to?
It could be. It could be related to trauma. It's very complicated interweb, right? But I actually tell people, I tell clients that the easiest thing is actually the behavior. Okay. So if I'm feeling super low and I haven't gotten out of bed for a day and my thoughts, I can't reel them back in and it's just like that, the simple act of just getting up and out of bed and making the bed will start to make a cascade. So behaviors actually are the easiest. And this is what we mean with a lot of programs where it's just just show up, just do it, right? A lot of times when we get trainers, we have this pressure that we need to show up to go to the gym. And that's how everything else results, right? So in a lot of ways, and sometimes you need somebody else to force or motivate you to enact in the behavior. But yes, behaviors and thoughts overall are easier to change than feelings. And sometimes actually behavior is the easiest to change.
Yes.
And so that was what I changed my behavior, right? It's I was still feeling low, but I'm just going to show up for shift. I'm going to show up and do work. And at the end of the day, I would feel a lot better because it's I did a lot of work. I got to learn some new stories about some new patients. These are the things that I really enjoy. I'm pursuing this awesome career. I'm finally, the end is nigh.
Yeah. No, you're doing
year, right? So
Yeah.
And that's what, there's always thoughts, man. But we also, everybody.
I think it's impossible to stop thoughts, especially as you
Yeah.
get older. Like, because everything does get harder. Like, how do you not have thoughts? Like we're all getting older. Like you'll never be,
and it's neurology.
You'll never be as awesome as you were when you were younger. Like physically, I mean, like physiology wise. So then, of course,
I
that's gonna.
disagree.
What do you mean?
I mean, we age, but you can still. It was really cool. Like, there's a lot of athletes that just keep working, and they just keep getting stronger until they're 50, 60. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's this idea that it depends on where you were in the first place. I was never a super athlete, so for me, it's like, oh man, I might actually be right now. I might be in the best shape of my life, and at least mentally, I'm feeling that way.
Okay.
But it's just all where's the baseline? What are you comparing to, right? And
it's
how much does other people's skinny legs comment actually impact you? And how many people are you hanging out with that are calling you skinny legs in the first place? Those people need to get the hell out of here.
Well, basically every guy I know fucking says I have skinny legs, but so I get it every day. Yeah, and no, like I joke around. I use Jocko mind control right away. Like I just like literally like they'll make fun of my skinny legs, and I'll close my eyes in front of their face and be like Jocko mind control, Jocko mind control. They're like, "What's he doing?" And I'm like, Jocko mind control. Oh wait, hey. And I was about to mind control my own mind, but then I just realized I was saying that out loud. Now I look like an idiot. And then the topic usually goes to something else, and then within an hour segues back to my skinny legs or whatever. But
these negative thoughts, they actually have categories for them. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, they're called cognitive distortions. That's what they refer to it in CBT. And then what you're doing is what we call thought catching. So you see this kind of stuff, right? There's a lot of training in Buddhist meditation, Eastern philosophies, all over into science, where it's like it's called something else, but what we're trying to do, it's a similar thing, right? Not let the thoughts get carried away.
I got two questions for you on that topic again. Where does exercise fit in? Because every time I work out, I feel amazing no matter what. I think the end of the world could be happening. And if I just stopped and did like 40 push-ups, and then go right to 50 free squats, like that already, I'm like physically in this place where I'm like, I felt like I just took a pill. Because I'm instantly like, everything's okay. But now that doesn't last. You know what I mean? Because once you're done exercising, where you're going to go exercise again? It's like, I guess you could if you're training for something, But first, what's your response to that? And then the second thing I was going to say was these bad boys right here. I'm pointing at the magic mushroom here. That absolutely helps the thought issues for sure, in my experience, because that thing really makes you see your thoughts instead of be your thoughts, And then you start to realize they're not real. The thoughts.
You read Michael Pollan's book, right? How to Change Your Mind. Oh, he talks really extensively about it.
Read.
Well, you know what? He's actually got a Netflix show.
Sweet.
Look it up.
That's more my alley.
Look it up. This is How to Change Your Mind.
Podcast
and there's a lot of research about this. Like Gabor Mate was doing a lot about ayahuasca. All of these things are actually hallucinogens, and what they're doing is pruning and reconnecting your nerves, so you see things in a different way. And that is possibly online with, people who have really, really, really bad depression, they still get electroconvulsive therapy. We still offer that as a treatment. And it feels like, to me, it's like hitting reset on your computer. And just fixing up the wiring a bit, right?
Right. But they have to reset again.
And there's actually a lot about with MDMA and hallucinogens concurrently with counseling. So this is when you're actually getting psychotherapy. And in controlled dosing of this, so you're actually engaging in the therapy with these more open neurons. So there's a lot of research into that, and a lot of this stuff actually was already on its way. It just got kind of squashed in the 70s with the war on drugs and making everything. There's so many papers out there that are from the 60s, 70s. These doctors were testing it on themselves, bro. There's a really famous psychiatrist from Saskatchewan. This guy was he was just taking all the drugs himself and just journaling about what the hell's going on. Man. And he saw this benefit of LSD or something like that. And man, it's wild, right? So a lot of it just falls under public policy. And I've told you even in the last podcast that I'm a harm reductionist. I think it's all substances, right? I even think it just depends on who's controlling it. It just depends. Is it the pharmaceutical company? Is it the physician? Is it the drug dealer on the streets? Everybody just wants to profit off of the substance, but all of it is somewhat, especially, well, the ones that sell on the streets, they do something to change your mind, right?
Of course.
That's what it is. They're mind altering. To your point with exercise, I don't know, but there's so much freaking research. I couldn't give you one answer, but it's a big blood flow all the way up to your brain. There's extra oxygen, but the big thing is endorphins.
Yeah.
So you're basically taking like a morphine pill when you're done working out.
Yeah, and well, there's also that psychological feeling of accomplishment, and then there's also, for me anyway, like it taps back into what's the most important thing at the end of the day. It's like the reality is the most important thing, no matter what is happening. It kind of is just how you feel in the moment, right? So in that moment, when you're kind of like too tired to care about things, like you're just more zen, I don't know if that's, but again, I'm not sure if that's the right approach, because it's not like you solved your problem, but you just got in a bit calmer headspace to be able to approach your problem.
Yeah,
the problem's still there, whatever it is.
That's fine, but if you're doing that all the time, and that's what I think excessive drug use is, right? Like I just said, exercising is like a morphine pill, but if you're just taking fentanyl all the time, you're escaping everything, right? And addiction is a whole other thing, and that's also the brain rewiring to such a point that you are ill, that you don't have control over what you're doing.
Dude,
right?
I talked about that one. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're in the health industry there. You're the doctor world. What's going on with? Is there more fentanyl in the streets right now than ever, or something like that?
Oh, there's always lots.
No, but right now specifically, I think, because I think I'm noticing it a lot more right now. Like, there's a lot more to do the heroin lean, like homeless, and I'm like, whoa, like just, and they're even more callous about it now. Yeah. Like before, it's at least congregate in certain parts, but now, like, just some guy on the sidewalk, his friend. It's literally like they're like, time to nap right here. And then like they're literally, I'm kind of like,
it might just be warmer weather.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I feel I haven't been up in the news, man. I've been so busy with just like studying, and sometimes it's just like that's a bit of a strategy of mine. If I don't hear it in my related work and what I'm trying to study and learn, like sometimes I don't know, and people think, man, this guy's like ignorant med student, but it's like
no.
But I will tell you that fentanyl, it became a big problem. It was filling up this space that oxycodone used to fill. But all of it's complicated. If you look at like the history of how crack came into being, and all of these different epidemics, I will tell you that alcohol remains an epidemic. Like that's the number one thing that we deal with, especially in rural spots. Indigenous folks, like they've had a friggin' alcohol issue forever, and it's like, forget about fentanyl.
Like looking at it.
But it's just, and again, I said, right, there's substance. They say substance use, substance abuse, addiction, whatever. It's clear that there's a point where it's causing dysfunction, and it's clear that there's a point when it's gone beyond tolerance to needing it, right? Where you're starting to have withdrawals physiologically.
Well, the opioid people are...
That's the thing. It causes insane withdrawals.
Physically need it. It's either that or from what I've been described, from what I've been listening to, it's like a fever times 10 or something. So I'm like, of course, you just get the drug at that point.
It's like, and that's why you hear when they're like, I'm feeling sick, man. That's what they say, right? It's like, it's because... they need to get a touch up, I guess, to feel normal. But here, let me quiz you on an interesting one. I think the audience will be baffled as well. There are only two things that we deal with where you actually die from the withdrawal.
But wasn't alcohol one of them? Yeah.
All the other substances you can die from overdose. But that's one, and the other one's benzodiazepines are in the alcohol family. They work on the same GABA nervous system. So those are the two that you can also overdose, etc. But you're more likely to die from the withdrawal aspect. All of the other ones, you will die from overdose, but the withdrawal is just nasty. So it's not that you're going to die from it, but it just sucks.
But alcohol withdrawal, I mean, like. I'm literally about to have more alcohol here. The Fernie Thunder Meadows IPA. I'm about to try that one.
IPA.
Okay. Oh, did you actually want that?
No. I'm actually
not big into IPAs. I'm not gonna lie.
No. I actually like. I'm really into the wit beers, man.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it.
I'm gonna drink the IPA, but I'm just saying it's not my first
Go to.
Yeah, I'm not a big hops guy, but I'll drink it. This is good though. This is good. I'm not just saying this is good. I mean, it's not. Again, I'm not a big hops guy, but this is good.
Because it's not like super hoppy.
There's definitely hops in here, but
that's where it's like too hoppy.
Let me see the IBUs here. Where is it? Oh, sorry, Braden. I'm not going to fumble around here looking for the IBUs, but no, it's good. Thunder Meadows IPA. It's good. Yeah, Bic. Hold on, but the alcohol withdrawal thing, because like we've all you and I partied so many times, like ridiculously wasted. Some of the funniest memories actually, but like I never had a withdrawal as far as I understand, or did I? You know, like because you said it's very noticeable.
So it's it's actually all into a gradient. There's a protocol we use. It's called the CIWA protocol, and like CIWA. You can just Google it and do it for yourself after a night of hard drinking, and you'll notice that sometimes when we felt hungover, we were experiencing symptoms of what we categorize scientifically.
Oh, so that was the withdrawal.
Yeah.
Wasn't a hangover. That was a withdrawal.
Hangover, some of that is part of the withdrawal, yeah. So like if there was ever any time that you were feeling like a little bit extra sweaty, you were still nauseous, you were feeling like jittery,
I do feel that, not all the time, but like I did feel that. So that was actually a withdrawal, not a hangover. That was a withdrawal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those sucked then.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, yeah, those really.
And
sucked.
those were the days when we were like, shit, let's go get brunch and we'll start.
Hair of the dog, right?
Yeah.
We grab a hair of the dog.
Yeah, and they were feeling okay. So that was a day that we were withdrawing, and we actually were having the Caesar.
I'm so stupid. I didn't even realize
neurochemicals
having
like
a
back to
withdrawal.
balance. No, but most people don't, man. And like, it's not medically serious, right? Like you're not, when we're talking about people, and this is actually interesting. I've actually worked in rural ERs where folks were actively intoxicated and still going into withdrawal. This is really complicated. So folks they're such severe heavy drinkers that their blood alcohol level was almost at the lethal level for the average person. They're able to just walk and like still chat at this level.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, I know a bunch of those guys.
But then when they came to hospital, they were still drunk, that means. So like even if they started to come down and metabolize some of that alcohol, they are now only at half of that lethal level, but because it went down, they're withdrawing. So they're still drunk and they're withdrawing.
That's brutal.
Yeah, and that's sometimes what we've had to deal with in the hospital. So we're trying to like clear out the alcohol, but then we're also trying. It's almost like you have to titer down. So actually, that's what a lot of when you go to like rehab and stuff where it's medical rehab, that's what you're getting. You're getting IV benzodiazepines, and it's to try to titer this down. So you're doing a perfect balance of not getting into that withdrawal state.
Huh. So but for alcohol, you basically said you do need to teeter off of it. You can't, if it's cold turkey, wouldn't you just, like.
Then that's what some people have done. They're like, I'm going to quit cold turkey. And then they all of a sudden started feeling weird. That's actually happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's weird because everybody's different. So, I mean, I had one case where this gentleman stopped completely and he was very, very, very heavy drinker. He was able to stop for a week and that's when the withdrawals happened. So it didn't even happen like the next day. Man. It was really weird.
So it's hard to even get like a true gauge on this because you said everyone's so different. Yeah.
Well, that's why if we know that you're like a heavy drinker, I don't know. It's interesting how we would. This is why we wish there was a lot more out in the community than in the hospital, because by the time when people come to the hospital, they're already in such a state of withdrawal that it's a medical emergency now, right?
Man, dude, what you just talked about, it made me think of like. I know so many guys. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are. You know who you are. Oh man, like they can drink, and I'm talking about like it's all the time, every day. And like it's a no factor for them. Like tabs at $100.
Yeah.
Like every day, but literally fully coherent, not stumbling around, not slurring their words, like fully coherent, having conversations like this, educating me on stuff. And then like the next day I would go back and talk to them and they, they give me a weird look, kind of like, oh, like kind of like they haven't met me before kind of thing. And then I'm kind of like, yo, bro, like fucking great conversation yesterday. And he's like, I don't remember like talking to you at all.
Wow,
and I'm sitting there
eh?
like, what do you mean you don't remember talking to me? Like we talked for like 2 hours. Like you
And they just, wow.
I'm like, so you were like blacked out, but
Fully functioning.
but beyond functioning. They were like, it's almost like they were better, because because I'm interacting with them now sober, and the dude's not smooth with his thoughts or his words or like, and then so then I started like, I mean, never even dawned on me that that basically you're basically telling me that they went into some kind of super drunk psychosis essentially where they're functional. I don't
I wouldn't even call it psychosis. They're drinking enough that the chemical is just blacking them out, right? Like they're not remembering, and who knows how much they went home and drank. Is the other thing, right? And then it becomes another thing. So if they're either in a withdrawal state or it's getting to this point of alcohol, they need it to feel normal. But we do know that alcohol is also a social lubricant. And I think I mentioned this in the last podcast,
right?
about
like it's fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if I went into it deep last time, but I read this other book by Peter. I can't remember.
Attia?
No, Peter Slingerslander or something like. But it's called Drunk, and it's this idea that there's a beer before bread theory, where like agriculture actually came around because we wanted to make beer instead of bread. And the reason is like you see this in you see animals, you see dolphins and other animals that just like eat like rotten fruit or hallucinogenic mushrooms, and they're totally doing it
because they want to get fucked up.
Yeah, and so. In medical science, enjoyment for the sake of enjoyment, like that's off the table. Okay. But if we're trying to look for, you also see these recommendations that keep coming out. It's like, oh, well, no, 2 glasses of wine a night is good. Okay. No, this much is good. And then it's like, oh, wait, you know what? I'm going to say to you, and I'm going to say to you, there is no like physiologically healthy, safe amount of drinking. All alcohol is damage. It's not good for you at a cellular level, etc. But let's look at what the social benefits are, right? So a lot of artists, writers, musicians, it opens up some other part of the brain, perhaps. Maybe it helps to initiate connections between the left and the right. More creativity, less inhibition. These must serve some sort of purpose for us.
Well, going back to like segueing back to the beginning of the podcast conversation, like the alcohol, it I don't know if for you, but for me, it like there is no negative thoughts really once I'm drinking. I feel great. The only shitty thing is when I drink too much. With what I'm realizing now, is actually a withdrawal, not a hangover. Because the hangover, it's like just get water in you. The withdrawal
headache,
when I'm like,
I mean, like when you have a headache and you're feeling kind of groggy, you get water and you get going, you're a little bit off, right? But 100%, man. Like I mean, I can talk personally, speak personally about alcohol with this depressive disorder, right? Then you become a chicken and the egg thing, where it's like sometimes when we go party, or back then at least, like I now understand what was going on, right? But we would go party and we'd drink quite a bit, and I would actually feel really low for like 2 or 3 days. And
the booze blues.
Yeah, right. And alcohol is it's a biphasic. I call it a biphasic chemical. So it actually is a stimulant, because when you're drunk, you're actually really excited. You're almost like hypomanic, right? Like you get really up. But then when you're metabolizing it, the metabolite makes it a depressant. So it's actually both. And what this starts the chicken or the egg cycle. So either I'm feeling low and I'm like, oh, having some beer will help make me feel a little bit more up, which it does at night, but then the next day I feel even more low, right? Or I'm feeling low in the first place, and I decide, okay, I'm just gonna like stay away from booze for now because the metabolite makes this worse. And so I've been able to catch that. But those nights sometimes in the past, like I'd be down for like 2 or 3 days because it was actually making that chemical bit worse. And then those were also those stretches where it's like, oh, well, I feel like crap. So it's not even that I had like a big hangover and withdrawing. It's again just like, well, I just want to feel better again. Like feeling sad sucks. So
I never realized you had so many feelings. Sorry. Sorry, I came out wrong. I just mean like just whenever we hung out, like because I'd hang out with you literally for 2-3 days at a time, right? Like like I'd sleep over, I'd be at your acreage, like shout out to your folks, like like just so lovely. It was like every time I came over, I was just so relaxed in your house. Like,
yeah, we love doing that.
Oh, well, that's also just the Sekhon family. They're so accommodating. Like, you know, like literally, you guys can form a housing program for people, and like, you know, like
we actually took in a lot of kids in junior high and stuff too. That when they were like parents were fighting and stuff, we're like, yeah, just come over, sleep over for like 4 or 5 days. It'll all be good.
Also, you guys live in that sweet acreage, so it was literally, I'm like, man, why don't I go home to my little basement when I go to Bix? but oh man, I had a thought, and then the sweet alcohol distracted me. Sorry, I mean we're cussing out alcohol, not talking about how awesome it is. I'm sorry, booze. Okay, dude, I completely lost my train of thought. I was onto something. It was something I wanted to. Oh yeah, I said that I didn't know you had all these feelings because the funny thing about you was like we would drink, but then you smoked so much weed that it's like you were like, I don't know, you would bounce from the party mode, the drinking, and like we're all like in that super like up, and then but you would go right to the weed, and then like you're just like mellow as well. So I couldn't tell internally you actually were having this roller coaster. I was just like, I was just like, this chemist knows his body. He switches from thing to thing to thing, and it's just like, you know, and like I was sitting there just like, man, like this guy has it like on point. Like I didn't realize behind the scenes again, like it's just like this roller coaster.
It was a roller coaster of self medication, right? Like the pot. Actually, I was talking with a couple of colleagues actually. It served as an ADHD medication, sort of. So like the kind of sativa concentrative type of thing. Like I was self-medicating my ADHD, and then with the hypomanic, you know, way that you guys would get into drinking and stuff. It's like I just kind of like to just be kind of mellow. I realized actually, you know, when my mood started to get better. This is actually a lot of these realizations have happened over the past couple of years. But it was this idea that even when I was like being a clown and having fun, like I was kind of putting on a show, right? It felt like I was just trying to distract from, you know, what
man. So that wasn't the real you. No,
this is real me now, man.
No. I'm joking.
You know
no, I love you through and through, man. Come on, I've also hung out with you sober. So it's like I get it.
And you and I, like we used to go to the gym together. We used to have so much fun together, man. It wasn't all just parties, but it was a lot of parties. It was fun.
Well, we always played hard after we like did stuff. Yeah. You know,
we were all actually motivated.
We're at university. We had goals. We had dreams.
Exactly.
You know, like, and it's good to see us both following through. And you know, oh God, again. I had all these thoughts. I need to start writing them so I can like fire them at you without getting distracted by like memories. I also just
interrupt because then I always have like some sort of interesting comment to add on.
No, but I love it. Oh, dude, I just remember because with me. Oh, by the way, like, because like me and my fiance, like, yeah, we smoke weed all the time, and it's like, it's like I love it. And I wanted to let you know my tolerance has gone way up because you know before like I had one puff and I'm done, right? I fall asleep, and I remember we were coming back from our buddy's bachelor party.
What are you doing?
And then like you're driving. We're driving home. Remember how hungover I was there and withdrawing, I guess, and now that I realized what was actually happening. But remember, like, I barfed everywhere, like, in front of that Boston Pizza in between.
Oh, yeah, this was the next day after all that when we were driving home, yes.
So I was in your car,
you were feeling sick.
And then, I just hurled everywhere, and I remember cars were clapping as I was like, driving by.
Oh, my God, I remember that.
You remember, yeah, you took the photo, I think.
I totally remember.
There's a photo of me just, like, mid-puke, and then... I remember, like, we get back into the car. You're driving, and then actually, wait, you're not driving. And then,
no, we weren't. We was the next day. I don't remember being that like hungover or trash.
Anyway, you weren't driving.
I definitely took the photo though. I remember that.
Yeah, but you weren't driving. But then I remember, like, I was just so belligerent, and then you're smoking weed, and then like I was starting to say stuff that I remember made no sense. Was offside, and also like, so you literally like you're talking to everyone, like, and you went like this, and you put the joint right into my mouth, and I suckled on it like a child, like suckling on a bottle, like I was like, and then I was out. And my last memory was I just remember you didn't even look at me, you're just chatting, and you just like did this, and like made me like choke out of it, and then next time I woke up, we're in Calgary. And, you're like singing, driving like kind of like a Flanders like car ride. Everyone's like singing and doing this, and I'm in the back just kind of waking up from my haze, like kind of like what fuck happened?
That nonsensical offside banter, that's one of the things on that protocol, man. It was like you get irritable. You're just like whatever.
I was just in hindsight. I just realized now I was just withdrawing.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah, if anything, maybe give me some booze. And then
Oh man, I think honestly, like all of us have been, we've all experienced a bit of that. If we've partied like enough, we just don't think about it because again, it's not like a medical emergency. And you know, it's probably not consistent. That's the thing with what I was saying when those folks that have a consistent blood alcohol level and then they're withdrawing and they're still at an alcohol level that would be drunk for us. It's really wild. Right?
Those guys, how like their liver must be a science anomaly.
They often do have very fatty livers. Yeah. And that's actually one of the, it's really sad. Like the ones where I was working in the rural areas, that's when you can tell is you just start to see the skin get yellow, and there's jaundice, so the liver is finishing up. And usually there's no hope for the heavy drinkers. You know, we refer to them as alcoholics, but there's usually no hope for liver transplant because, you know, this is maybe a discussion for another session. The ethics behind, you know, that this person who's going to probably go back to drinking again.
Right, you're literally giving him a second chance just to get more hammered.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. And that's how some people think, but you know, whose life is worth more? What if this time is the time that they turn around? You don't know.
Hey, I got another question for you here that we can both kind of relate to. When I was in my 20s getting smashed with the booze, like it's like I started to realize this actually only a couple months ago. Like I had this weird like reflective epiphany type thing. I was like, oh, like I was actually anxious all the time. I didn't actually even know. I didn't realize what that was. Like I didn't realize I was actually just anxious all the time. You know, because when you're in your 20s, if you still haven't like found your calling, if you will, or like you don't really know what to do with your life, you're doing something, but you're not. This isn't like you're still your heart's not into it. You know, like it wasn't until I discovered Kaks and pursuing this business that my heart finally aligned with what I want to do, like in its entirety. And I was like, wow, the quality of life I have now mentally and is like 100-fold like better than what I had in my 20s mentally. And but in my 20s, I didn't realize, like, without even knowing it, I was just anxious because everywhere you look, like, say you met this other guy that night just out and about who just seems like they have their shit together, right? Yeah. And then you, like, I didn't even realize it till, again, a couple months ago where I was like, holy fuck, I actually, within like a quick millisecond, I had already compared myself to the dude. I already like tried to do like a dick measuring contest in my mind. And like, and I realized in my mind, I psyched myself out to think that I don't stack up against this guy. So then I got anxious. And then when I was getting anxious, like the booze, obviously it takes that all away. And that is, I think, what most of us were actually doing in our 20s. Like we were drinking because I think we all were lost.
We were lost.
Yeah.
You know, we're anxious. You know, when I told you that alcohol and benzos, they do the same thing. What's the number one medication for anxiety and panic attacks?
I don't know.
Benzodiazepines. So we're taking alcohol as like
as our benzo,
as an anxiety killer. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, but like not all the time. Like, but many of the time. Right? Like, well, that's why people.
Well, that's why it's a social lubricant. People have social anxiety. Everybody has a little
social anxiety. Sorry, there's literally terms for everything. Like, that's probably what we were all having, and we couldn't even realize it because. It's so interesting how when like, again, we're older now, but when I was younger, I didn't realize I was autopiloting so much stuff. Like I wasn't consciously controlling my decisions. I was autopilot controlling. I don't know how else to really explain it. Cause now I consciously like after this podcast, I will stop. This is done for the night. Yeah. Cause I have things to do and I want to do those other things. But in the 20s, remember once we get going, like it's on until the next day. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think it's just like the sooner you can fumble your way through life to figure out your calling, then when you finally drink, the intent of it can actually be controlled for only its benefits, not using this to like as a crux. Yeah. Do you know? So like I think that's something I've learned now through my drinking journey. Yeah. And it seems like you as well, because of just how far you're going in your med schools now. Like, you know, because even just now you're saying it was a bit of an act you were pulling before, but you know, that was news to me because I thought that you were just like, that's you, you know, and I was like, Vic's awesome.
It is. I'm not unawesome now. What are you trying to say? It's this idea of like, I don't feel like I need to, that also has to do with self-confidence too, right? Some of that performative stuff probably had to do with some of the things that you were having. I felt that too, like that guy's bigger than me. This guy's got a better car. You know, we used to go through that kind of shit. And I did always know that I could make people laugh, and people generally got on with me, and that
you're like a real life Bugs Bunny. Like, even the way you laugh, like it's just literally. I'm just like you know, like yeah.
I love it. Fucking incredible. Yeah. Hey man, but look, your journey has brought you here. Look at around you, man. Like, this is really amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is super awesome, and it's quite a ways to go. Like, I'm not out of the. You know, I was telling myself, I was like, okay, you'll know when you really made it. Like, but right now you haven't made it yet. This is still fucking beginning shit.
Yeah, fair.
You know,
I just think it's you know what, it's good to add chapters on your journey.
Yeah, at least I'm pursuing something that's super hard. That's like hard beyond hard for my weaknesses, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, because.
And that's what you're trying to challenge and strengthen.
I'm addicted to it right now. I'm addicted to overcoming my weaknesses
perceived
every day.
Weaknesses.
Yeah. No, they're weak. Trust me. Like, they're like, you know, like every day. I mean, like, I love podcasting. I love listening to podcasts. Like, I love this. This is one of my passions. I love just connecting. Because right now, what people don't realize is right now, just you and I were shooting words, but like energy wise, like we're fucking. You know what I mean? Like,
I always love.
You know what I mean? Like we're bonding. Like I love that. That's really what it is. Like,
that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Even
like,
from last time, I was like, it was also just nice to freaking have a conversation with Shawn.
Like, and I don't know, the camera, the mic, it just kind of makes it even better. I don't know what it is. Like, it just even more. It's podcasting is this weird, interesting art now where you're like, because like there's a conversation we're capturing, but I still feel like I'm just talking to you. And like when people aren't around. But try doing the same thing without a mic with people watching. You will then start to control what you're saying.
Yeah.
But here we're just letting it fly with the help of this.
With a little bit of
smooth Thunder Meadows IPA, Fernie Brewing Co. As a non-IPA drinker, I actually enjoy this right now. Yes.
Cheers to Fernie.
Cheers. Have the other one if you can.
No, I'm good, man.
Yeah. So but like right now, even if say you and I were both mute and we're sitting here just doing gestures with this thing, with the camera, I think there'd be that same connection. I don't know, like that's part of like just what I love about like just this. This is why I'm doing this, and and it just makes me activated. I don't know, you know. I'm in a long-winded little explanation, but everyone needs to find their calling, man. You got to keep going. You got to keep trying. You got to keep fumbling around until you find out what it is that you love. You got to find a way to do it all the time, and you got to find a way to make money doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I swear, almost all my mental health issues cleared up after that, you know? But you seem to be in a way different realm of because when you bring up chemical stuff, like, how do you prevent that? Is that genetic?
Psychotherapy, medications I take.
Yeah. But were you born like that then, would you say?
I don't know.
Don't know. What does the literature say?
We don't diagnose anybody under 18 with any of these things. So it's like you got to wait until you're an adult. It's an arbitrary number. I think, you know, people change anywhere between 18 and 25, especially in terms of their brains. But I couldn't tell you, man. I can tell you I definitely felt anxious always. And some of that, you know, I'm not going to get too deep into it today. But there's a lot of childhood traumas, right? Like the bullying, the dad being really drunk and angry, you know, the area that I grew up in terms of schooling and whatever. So there's a lot of other factors. And that's what my master's thesis was on, right? Is about intergenerational trauma, epigenetics. So it's this idea that whatever your genetics are, it's going to it doesn't necessarily result in a certain phenotype or what the actual organism is, and without these inputs from society and the environment. So genes are kind of like spools of thread, and it's like you have like a gene maybe for depression or anxiety or schizophrenia or something, right? And all spools of thread have like a little bit of a loose piece, right? So that little loose piece can also be a different length for everybody. And then whatever happens in life and in the environment and social cues, things come by and they're trying to like pull at that thread. And some people, unfortunately, the thread gets pulled. And then all of a sudden the gene is exposed.
You know, okay, piggybacking off that, I had a thought just now. I'm working through it in real time. Bear with me here. Okay. You know Street Fighter, the video game?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so like, you know,
kick your ass at it.
Yeah, we should play again, by the way. Anyway, I love it. We're talking about original Street Fighter 2 Super. Okay. But,
I got that downloaded, man.
I know that thing's amazing. Yeah, I think we were trying to play Boogie Burgers, and then like,
that was
what happened. But dude, okay, so you know each character they have their basic moves: punch, kick, soft punch, soft kick, hard punch, hard kick. They can all do that in their own character's physiology, but then they each have their own super moves, which is unique to their own character. I look at genetics almost like that. So then like things that like alcohol is a catalyst for a chemical distortion for some guy, and then the other guy it's not. It's almost because it's like a Street Fighter character. Like for instance, like with Zangief, you have to get close to do all of his super moves. You know, when he gets close to his opponent, then he can pull the pile driver, the Siberian suplex, and all the super moves. Yeah. But then you can't use Zangief's moves on someone like Dalsum.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. Yoga heart.
Yeah, he fights from a distance. Like, yeah, so it's almost like you have to again fumble around through life, figure out which character you are, and then adapt to its realm of which vices that character can use that aren't detrimental. And again, how do you do that without at least fucking fumbling around at least through your 20s? It's like a 10-year experiment. And by the time you're 30, you're just like, hey, I finally figured out what I can and can't have and can't do.
Maybe that's part of the journey, right? That's why I think substance use shouldn't be so demonized. That's exactly why I think it shouldn't be so demonized. And I think the thing that could help prevent is just if we had more mental health supports for youth, man, at a younger age. It's like someone like me who will talk just straight up about like, this is what alcohol does. This is what the doctor's medication does. This is what all this stuff does to your brain. And, like, let's try to figure out why you're using this and maybe there's a better way. And that's what harm reduction is. It doesn't mean quit all of it. It's up to us to try to figure it out and just support.
I feel like...
So that maybe that struggle isn't so long lasting, right? Or it doesn't. It can get a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel like with the youth right now, there is a certain part of the recklessness that they all do in their early 20s. That just has to do with the example we just talked about. With you're gonna fuck up at that point anyway. How do you even know who you are at that point?
Do you know that's what it is?
You know
like
what I mean?
teen,
So,
look at the teen brain, right?
Yeah.
So teenagers have been the same every generation in
always
terms
the
of their
same.
brains.
It's
So like
always the same.
if it isn't cigarettes, it's vapes. If it isn't
and that's all peer
this,
pressure.
and that, it's this and that. Like there are some social dynamics about adolescence that just are consistent, right? But it's what are we introducing into the society, into the environment? So if children are more susceptible to this kind of stuff, when there's more lethal substances, that's where we're getting really scared and upset. Pot is also like friggin'. It's not Cheech and Chong days, man. This shit is like 30%, 40% THC. These kids' brains aren't even developed at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't even start taking up marijuana more frequently. I think I did it once or twice before I was.
It was your early 20s when you really, it wasn't your.
It was almost mid 20s. I think 22, 23. So like my brain had a little bit more time to like kind of cement itself. And back then, again, it wasn't like this crazy strength THC. So that's what we're seeing now is there's teens that are, they're experimenting with pot, but it's actually pulling that spool of thread and causing psychosis.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this then. You're a super smart guy. Okay, so there's some cultures that just demonize all forms of substances, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like but would you say those cultures function better than our society, where you can at least experiment? Do you kind of know? Do you get what I'm asking? It's like, because it's almost like, oh man, if substances come with such an array of fucking catches, if you will, right? It's like, oh, hey, you can have a drink, but now you might be journeying through like figuring out if you're addicted to it, blah blah blah. And it's better if you just never did in the first place, right? It's just like I already answered my own question on my thought pattern. I believe in freedom, total, completely, because I'm like, without that, without fucking up, without, you know, like some of the best art has come from that, you know, and like, and with you, you're an artistic guy, whether you like between the DJing, the way you designed your car, like your fashion sense, you know, like fucking love that jacket, by the way.
It's all badges from my road trip.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, I don't think of that. I would think of like getting a bomber coat and then like putting on, basically creating a Maverick coat, but just off your own personal mental health journey. Like that's rad. So it's like, you're an artistic guy. So then it's almost like if you're a Street Fighter character, you're not Zangief. You're literally fucking Akuma or something, right? You have like all these moves. Favorite. You have all these moves. So maybe that's why you need more, what's it called? You need to like monitor yourself more because you have more pieces to monitor. Maybe. And maybe that's why like you're having this chemical thing and stuff. Because like I'm more simple. I am at the end of the day more like a caveman. You know, like I like to eat, live,
wouldn't say that,
and like fuck, basically, and you know,
well,
like the fact that I even
that's
start
a
a
good
podcast,
basic life, right? Like if you can get that done, then you'll have a happy life. Don't make it too complicated. You know, it's the back to that book that I read, Drunk. That's what was posed. It was this question, and this might be something to think about. This might be a good way to actually top this conversation off because we'll leave the audience to think about this too.
Yes. Oh yeah, we're closing an hour already. Okay, good.
So here's the question, and it's complicated. Like you got to think about this, but what you just said is like societies that prohibit and limit. There should be extra function coming out of this, right?
Well, shouldn't they be better in theory, right?
So
I don't even know how you measure better, but
so let's go back to what I was saying. The beer before bread theory. Let's say there's the Shawn Chan village, and they're over there, right? And the Chan Man village, they are super regimented. They wake up, same time every morning. Wheat fields. They're harvesting crop
with pure discipline.
They're very disciplined. Yeah,
they skip leg day. With discipline. Every time it comes up, they skip it with discipline. Anyway,
it's regular. They're getting the grain. They're baking bread. They're making food. They've got preserves. They're not using any of it on alcohol. Okay, so that means all of their resources are also going towards functional things. Make sense? So that's the Chan Man village. Meanwhile, there's the Bikram villager, right? There's my village, the Bic village, and Bic's village.
The coolest village is like actually a party, and everyone's like, "Oh, I wish."
Yeah, Bic's village.
We're all looking over like, "Oh."
Bic's village. We take. Oh well, let's see, right? We take Sundays off because Saturdays we're drinking, and Sundays are often hungover. We spend a lot of our resources on beer. Sometimes we're going to the farm like half hungover, so we're not even as efficient in terms of productivity. But there are some other cool things like music, etc. We should think in terms of an evolutionary perspective that Bic's village is probably going to die off. Like if we're
on
in
paper,
theory,
it should,
right?
But
on
paper,
has that happened?
No.
So something to think about.
Yeah. And to piggyback off what you said, like I'm a huge MMA guy. You know that, like, because there was Khabib Nurmagomedov, devout Muslim, never touched a drop of any substances, like no vices whatsoever. Prays every day, multiple times. Like does the Ramadan.
That might be
thing.
his drug.
So he was undefeated. Left the UFC 24-0, right? And everyone, and he's literally preaching, be like me to be successful in life. And I was sitting there like thinking in my head, like, you realize Conor McGregor was a 2-weight world champion simultaneously, and this guy's just hammered all the time.
He's Irish.
You know what I mean? And then you got John Jones, who's the heavyweight champion of the world, who has used every steroid, and literally destroyed DC after using coke.
You're also a big fan of the Diaz brothers, man.
Love them. So again,
using pot in their training.
Love Diaz brothers, and they're big time potheads, and they don't even take in animal protein. Mm-hmm. They don't eat meat. Yeah. Yet they are at the top. So I don't know. I'm starting to think
true plant life. You see,
true plant life. True. Yeah. Well, Nick, Nick is. I know Nate eats. I think what's that term when you eat a little bit of fish?
Oh, pescatarian.
He's that. He does eat fish. He eats sushi. I know that.
Pescatarian.
Yeah, but anyway, like, but look,
How can you not eat sushi?
all form of success is a plethora of backgrounds again. So, so I'm like, I think at the end of the day, we don't have enough. What do you call it? What am I trying to say here? You can't just lay down a rule that, hey, you know what? Today, abstain like from everything.
Yeah,
like because it's just not true. Like
there's no one path of success for anybody.
No, man. Like if we all lived straight edge, it'd be interesting to see where we go. But I just doubt it would be as interesting for sure as this, you know. But yeah, but I don't know. You know, I don't know. People, what do you think at the end of the day? Like, go straight edge or kind of let it rip and see where everything goes? I don't know. I think. I don't know. The moderation thing, I think, is something I'm as I get older, I'm definitely dialing in more. You know, just you do everything, but in moderation. I don't know.
That's what it seems to be the movement. A lot of there's actually a really great a website I could just maybe say at the end is it's called Hello Sunday Morning, and the whole idea is that it's not an abstinence based program, but it's kind of like trying to make you think about your drinking, and I think that's where it tends to go. Like our society is tending to be a little bit more about moderation, just understanding that there's harms around it, but that it can be enjoyed sometimes.
But moderation's hard, man.
For some people.
Yeah.
But
because moderation, what does moderation mean? It means leaving the party early when it's just getting going.
You don't have to leave. The idea is space it out or have something else or you know, I think like there's a lot of people I know that don't drink at all and they still party and have fun. Like they're still in the moment enjoying. I you know, again, it's different for everybody. Your level of moderation is also maybe up to interpretation.
Yeah.
But I also think, and you know, I could reverse the question is if moderation is so hard, maybe you can't do moderation unless you've dealt with your other shit.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that far. I just mean like, for instance, if you gave me 10 sour soothers candies, which I love those things, it's like you're telling me I should only eat 5, you know, but there's 10 there. And, you know, and like I will be full for sure after 9. That 10th one will put me over the edge. But that up to 9, my sugar levels are like I'm not satiated. The moderation thing for me seems like you're telling people to like not be satiated and then bounce because.
So I look at it different, and I think that's again that has to do with neurotransmitters. That has to do with your serotonin levels, which tell you that you're satiated now, and it's fighting with your dopamine system, which is just like get more reward. That's the part that really messes things up, but. The idea is that, hey, this is enough and now I feel satiated. It's to change, it's to lower your satiation bar.
But the satiation, if you have to consciously analyze it, then
you
again,
don't.
It's like...
That's what I'm saying. If you take care of your shit, then you're not analyzing it. All of this is your brain is often working against you. It's doing shit that is just repetitive and you've already felt it before.
Your brain is a dumb slave. It just create habits.
But it controls so much of you.
Yeah.
So that's what's scary, right? Yeah. And so what you're doing, like a mind control, that's what it all lies in.
Yeah. Yeah. Something a lot to think about there, a lot to unpack.
Well, you guys, you know.
Yeah. Hey, Vic, I'm gonna wind it down here just because, we reached some time here. I know we're all busy. Dude, come on as much as you fucking want. Love chatting with you. And like,
anytime I visit back from Karsten,
do it.
Oh, because I'll have some pretty interesting stories.
Yeah, I want to hear it. I think the world wants to hear it.
I'm gonna have some really wild stories. You know, I didn't get to even get into my trip to Nunavut today and some other things. So
did you want to?
I gotta run too.
You gotta run too. Okay,
yeah, okay. But it's what I was hoping is that you know, all of that would be one package of like my rural experiences,
right?
You know, doing this medical school thing. So that will be a really good conversation.
Okay. You know what? Even say we don't podcast for another year, that'd be like, it's cool with me. Cause like, then there's this year to unpack for the audience, you know, like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We'll have a special edition.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You're just an interesting guy. And like, you're always just like, cause so many people they're just not that interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of sucks to realize, especially as you get older, you're just kind of like, fuck, you're like, so hard. Like, it's just not that interesting. Like literally, there's 10 of you around the corner every time. Like 10 of you just said the same thing in a different timing. But like someone, look, just, yeah, you're unique, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll cheers you with my.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Okay.
Cheers with my
Cheers.
water.
Cheers. Okay, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed the first cat. Oh, fuck me. I didn't even take a swig of this. Oh, that's fine.
I don't even know if that's actually it.
Everyone, hey, thanks for tuning in to the first Kaks Bar podcast out of the bar itself. The studio is not finished. I jumped the gun early and just shot an episode with Bick. Wanted to meet up with him before you bounced from Calgary for 10 months. Yeah, but there's still a lot of work to do. The room is definitely not complete. The more I'm like glancing around, I'm like, so much needs to be done in here. Yeah. We just podcasted from this angle. Yeah. Well, I can do it from different angles too. You see into the bar, into the street. So this is just the one I feng shuied up off the top of my head. So, okay, guys, yeah, follow us. The banners behind you here. We're all on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, all at Kaks Bar Podcast. One word. I know it gets confusing. The handle is Kaks Bar Podcast. Right there, bang, bang, bang. All right. And yeah, we should be opening soon, mid-May. Our menu is up on our website at www.kaksbarpodcast.com. There's no and in the website. Somehow someone took the original domain of Kaks Bar and Podcast. I'm like, no way that's a real person. That's obviously some bot. They fucking hogged it, like, and now they need you to pay them to like get it back. It's crazy. I'm like, you're telling me there's like I was talking to my website developer. I'm like, there's already a kaksbarandpodcast.com. He's like, yeah. Yeah, no, yes. And then we had to call it kaksbarpodcast.com without the and. Anyway, yeah, food menu's up. And shout out to Chef E-Man for making all that, designing it. Pictures of the food will be coming up hopefully soon here once we get the kitchen all finally done constructing. So a lot's coming down the pipe, people. And yes, and if you're interested in recording your own podcast, come on down to Kaks Bar Podcast. And we're going to have a program soon to set up so you guys can use the studio yourself and record it yourself. More information on that coming soon. Bick, anything left out?
I was just going to ask you, I might actually take you up on that, right? Because I was talking about some of the podcasts that I wanted to get up going.
Do it.
Boom. That's awesome, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you, Bick. All right, okay, everyone have a great day. Great day. All right, bye.